Hey Shugs, welcome back to Anxiety Art Adventures. How are all of you today on this lovely Friday? I hope you are having a great day today. And I am going to be doing a whip and chat, talk a little bit about, life, stuff, happenings, that kind of thing. And we're also going to talk about daylight savings time because that is this weekend. So I found some interesting facts about daylight savings time that I am going to share with all of you today. So I am working on a Jaded Gem Shop canvas. This is from Carrie's Cuttlefish. It's called Fly to the Moon. That is the image. Isn't it just adorable? Oh my gosh. I call it the Bat Cat. The Bat Cat. I am working on this for Mermaids and Magic 2023. I'm just participating in the event to show support to Shay and Randy. Not doing it for prizes or anything like that. Just want to show some support. All right, I'm using an Enablers Outpost pen. I love this pen. It's very comfortable. It's glittery. It's aqua and purple. And got some, clearish down here too. But love this pen. Very comfortable. I'm using a normal tip, and then I'm using a stainless steel thin multi-placer. It's a 7-placer. Using my Muni-Made tray in a very light pink. Love these trays. I'm using Enablers Outpost Apple Orchard Chit today. Great putty. If you haven't checked out the putty, do so. Do it, show. This is my Muni-Made trash can that I'm keeping my trash drills in. Love the little trash cans. My cover miners today, this is from a gift that was from my good friend Jenny. She sent this to me, Anxiety. So cute, so cute. Love that. And then this is a cover minder from Cover Minder Saban. It's a beautiful cat. As you know, I love cats. So I wanted to use this because we are working on the Bat Cat today. Yes. So that is what I'm using. I think I got everything that I'm using. Yes. Okay. So we're going to drill, y'all. And I'm using my Elizabeth Ward containers on this kit. Yes. So how is everyone? Well, let's do a mental health check-in because everybody needs it. I've had a pretty rough go this month, but I'm doing much better. And I've had a lot of support from friends and family. And yeah, just there are a lot of times when life just gets you down, but just remember that, things will get better. And, it's not, in my opinion, nothing is so bad that you can't think of a positive, counterpart. So whenever I'm down in the dumps and depressed or upset, I try to think of one or two positive things in my life to counteract the bad things. So that helps me with my depression. So yeah, other than that, things are going fairly well. Cats are driving me crazy as usual. They're fine. They're just, 3-year-old cats. But love my babies. They're both asleep in the sun right now. Very nice and sunny today. It's about 50 degrees. It's been rather chilly at night, though. It's gotten below freezing at night. And in the mornings, it's pretty cold. But during the day, it warms up a little bit. So I'm looking forward to spring and warm weather and sunshine, all that good stuff. Yeah. So what are all of you working on? Let me know. I did do a video this week on all of my current WIPs. I'll put that up in the eye so you can check that out if you'd like to. I have 9 WIPs going currently, and I am okay with that. WIPs are, in my opinion, WIPs are necessary. Works in progress. I feel like, if you work on one canvas for too long, especially all these canvases that are so large. I feel like, for me, burnout is real. So I try to switch up my canvases. I've been switching out between round drills and square drills, and I've been enjoying that quite a bit. So, yes. Yes, yes. I'll have that video up there if you want to check it out. I do want to thank all of my subscribers and my channel members. Couldn't do this without all of you, and I just want all of you to know that I greatly appreciate you, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. Yes. So what else has been going on? Oh, so I finished watching Gilmore Girls, and I enjoyed it. It was a little girly for me, but it was good. It reminded me of how I grew up a little bit. Yeah, so I finished watching that, and then I watched like the first 5 minutes of the show You on Netflix. Stephanie had recommended that to me, and Sean and Adam were there, and it just wasn't the kind of thing that I think they would have liked, and I don't know. So I stopped it, and I was just like, all right, we'll just watch something else for now, and I'll go back to that. I'll watch that on my own. But I've been watching, and don't come for me in the comments. Do not come for me in the comments. But I've never watched Grey's Anatomy. I've had, many people tell me it's a great show and that I need to watch it. And it has 18 seasons, you guys. 18. What? So I started watching Grey's Anatomy, and I think I'm on season 2. And it's actually really good. It's got a lot of, drama, and, it's got some hanky-panky in it, but it's actually pretty good. Pretty good. I don't think in any way, shape, that it depicts real life, what happens in a hospital, but it's a good show. So definitely recommend. Don't spoil it for me. I know it's a very old show. It's got 18 seasons, so I'll be able to watch that for a while. Yeah, but let me know in the comments below if you're, watching any shows. Which ones have you watched? What do you enjoy? Any recommendations? I really like funny shows, or, true crime type shows, murder mystery, that kind of thing. I'm not big on the, lots of action, that kind of thing, but I'm pretty much open to anything. Adam and I are always looking for new shows. I really want to watch Yellowstone, but I don't have the streaming service that it's being showed on. So I'm gonna wait and see if it goes to Hulu or Netflix. So we shall see. We shall see. Yeah. Other than that, everything is. It's okay. It's okay. Things are looking up. Looking up. Yeah. I'm going to go to lunch next week with my oldest nephew. He's going to be in from college for spring break. So my mom and I are going to go and take him out to lunch. So it'll be good to see him. I haven't seen him since Christmas. And even then, at Christmas, they all had COVID, my sister's family. So we just did a Zoom call with all of them on Christmas, which kind of sucked, but we were still able to quote unquote see them. So, yeah, so it'll be good to see him home from college. He's doing very well, really likes college, and seems to be adapting to life away from home very well. So I'm very proud of him. Very proud of him. My middle nephew graduates from high school this year, so he'll graduate in May. And then my youngest nephew is going to be a senior next year. So lots of exciting things happening in the fam. My dad just got back from a trip. He was in where was he? He was in St. Thomas for a month. He and my stepmom, they decided they needed a vacation, so they took a month and went to St. Thomas. So I'm very happy they were able to do that. And it sounds like they had a great trip. They sent us lots of pictures along the way of what they were doing and what they were seeing. And I'm very, very happy they had a chance to go and relax. And they had a lot of things going on in life. So I'm glad that they got away from it for a little bit. So, yeah. All right. So we're going to talk about daylight savings time. I know a lot of people don't care for daylight savings time. I'm one of those people. I think it's silly, and everybody's going to have their opinion on this. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I just think it's very disruptive to our bodies, to our sleep cycles, to do that twice a year. It's just, I don't really see a point in it now. Maybe back in the day it might have been helpful, but I wish our state would decide not to do it anymore, just because, yeah, I would like to stick to one time zone, and that's it. So anyway. All right. So I found this from interestingfacts.com. This is 6 illuminating facts about daylight savings time. Grab a drink, grab a snack. I'm going to share these facts with all of you. I'm drinking my coffee. Okay. So hopefully I can diamond paint at the same time. I think I've got all of this color, so let me swap colors real quick. Pretty sure I got all of that color. It always happens. You think you got them all, and then you don't. Then you don't. Okay, let's find a different color. What color do we want to do? Just shout it out. Yell. Tell me. Go ahead. What? I can't hear you. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just being silly. Okay, let's see. Let's do the little airplane symbol. Love all these bright colors. Really needed the bright colors in my life, that's for sure. Okay. 6 illuminating facts about daylight savings time. Okay. Don't need to know about that. Okay, so daylight savings time officially begins on the 2nd Sunday of March and ends on the 1st Sunday in November. And it says daylight savings time is loathed as much as it is loved, but these facts just might help you see the time warp in a whole new light. So, number 1, Benjamin Franklin did not invent daylight savings time. I did not know that. I didn't know who invented daylight savings time, but I don't think I thought it was Benjamin Franklin. But apparently he was often credited as the inventor of daylight savings time. The concept seems on brand for the founding father who once championed early waking and bedtimes as the key to success. It is a myth that Franklin invented daylight savings time, though he did once suggest a similar idea. In 1784, Franklin wrote a letter to the Journal de Paris suggesting that French citizens could conserve candles and money by syncing their schedules with the sun. Franklin's proposal, written and considered a joke by many historians, did not recommend adjusting clocks. The idea was to start and end the day with the sun's rising and setting regardless of the actual time. Wow, I didn't know that. Did y'all know that? Didn't know that. Some of you might have known that, but I didn't know that. It says proposal did not get far, but nearly 100 years later, another science-minded thinker devised the daylight savings time strategy we're familiar with today. George Vernon Hudson, a postal worker and entomologist living in New Zealand, presented the basics of the idea in 1895. Hudson's version moved clocks ahead 2 hours in the spring in an effort to extend daylight hours. For him, the biggest benefit of a seasonal time shift would be longer days in which he could hunt for bugs after his post office duties were finished. His proposal was initially ridiculed, but 3 decades later, in 1927, New Zealand's parliament gave daylight savings a shot as a trial, and the Royal Society of New Zealand even awarded Hudson a medal for his ingenuity. Y'all, I can't think. It's early. Did not know that. Did not know that. Did any of you know who the founder of daylight savings time was without Googling it? I had no idea. I thought that daylight savings time was to benefit the farmers, that it would help them extend daylight for farming purposes. Let me know if that's what you thought as well. That's originally what I thought it was for. Okay, let's see. All right. Number 2, only 35% of countries adjust their clocks seasonally. Germany paved the way for daylight saving time in 1916, becoming the first country to enact Hudson's idea as an energy-saving move in the midst of World War I. While many countries followed suit, mostly North America, Europe, parts of the Middle East, and New Zealand, some of the world's 195 countries did not. In fact, around the globe, it's now more common to not make clock adjustments, especially in countries close to the equator, which don't experience major seasonal changes in day length. In total, around 70 countries observe the time shift, even in the U.S., where daylight savings time has been a standard practice mandated by federal law since 1966, 2 states do not participate, Arizona and Hawaii. I did know that because I used to live in Arizona, and it was always funny because I'd have to really think before, I called my parents or my friends, because I was like, okay, wait a minute. They're 2 hours ahead of me, so if it's, 10 o'clock my time, it's going to be midnight their time. So I had to pay attention to that. But it was always, always 2 hours, for me. Whereas, here in Virginia, they did they do daylight savings. I had heard rumors that they were going to change it so that Virginia did not participate in daylight savings time. Obviously it hasn't gone into effect, but I know it had, was being discussed. So, okay, number 3, the first U.S. daylight savings time was a disaster. Oh, wow, I didn't know that. Okay, marching into World War I, the U.S. adopted the European strategy of rationing energy by adjusting civilian schedules. With more daylight hours, homes and businesses could somewhat reduce their reliance on electricity and other fuels, redirecting them instead to the war effort. But in the early part of the 20th century, timekeeping across the country was far from consistent. So in March of 1918, President Woodrow Wilson signed legislation that created the country's 5 time zones. The same month, on Easter Sunday, daylight savings time went into effect for the first time ever. Though the government's efforts to create consistent clocks were initially a mess, holiday celebrations were thrown off by the time changes, and Americans lashed out with a variety of complaints, believing that the time change diminished attendance at religious services, reduced early morning recreation, and provided too much daylight, which supposedly destroyed landscaping. What? Seriously? I can understand the religious services because, you're changing the time that people go to church, but, landscaping. The time shift was temporarily repealed in 1919 at the war's end and wouldn't be seen again on the federal level until World War II. However, some cities and states picked up the idea, adjusting their clocks in the spring and fall as they saw fit. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Let me know in the comments down below what all of you think about daylight savings time. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think, you know, would you prefer having it or would you prefer not having it? Let me know. Okay, number 4. In the U.S., daylight savings time once had a different nickname. Because of its association with energy rationing during World War I, daylight savings time originally had a different nickname. It was called wartime. When the U.S. became involved in World War II, nearly 2 decades later, wartime returned and was in place year-round from February 1942 until September 1945, when it was ditched at the war's end. The time change earned its modern title in 1966 when Congress passed the Uniform Time Act, which further standardized time zones and standardized the start and end dates for daylight savings time, among other things. Many countries that follow daylight savings time use the same terminology, though the seasonal time change goes by different labels in some regions. In the UK, Brits have British summertime. So they call daylight savings time British summertime, or BST. Interesting. Oh, now listen to this. Number 5. Dairy cows and farmers are not big fans. Daylight savings lore has it that the spring and fall clock changes provided the biggest benefit for farms, though if cows could speak, they might say otherwise. Farmers who supposedly benefit from the extra hour of light in the afternoon have heavily lobbied against the time change since it was first enacted in 1918. That's partially because it's confusing for livestock, such as dairy cows and goats, because it throws off their feeding and milking schedules. Some farmers say the loss of morning light also makes it more difficult to complete necessary chores early in the day and impacts how they harvest and move crops to the market. Wow. See, I thought farmers were the ones that wanted this change. That's interesting. How many of you thought that? Let me know. I honestly thought that, farmers were part of the reason why we had daylight savings time. While farmers have pushed to drop daylight savings time, some industries, like the golf industry, have campaigned to keep it for their benefit. The extra daylight is known for bringing more putters to the courses, generating millions in golf gear sales and game fees. Other big business supporters include the barbecue industry, which sells more grills and charcoal in the months with longer daylight hours, and candy companies benefiting from longer trick-or-treating hours on Halloween. Okay. That's really interesting. I don't know. I find things like this really, really cool. I'm like a fact junkie. I love looking up facts about things. Is that weird? Does that make me like a total nerd? Which I'm okay with, but I don't know. My husband thinks I'm weird. He's like, why do you look up these things? Like, because they're fun. They're interesting. For me, anyway. Okay, and the last interesting fact about daylight savings time, the 2 a.m. start time is all because of trains. President Wilson knew that rolling clocks forward and backward twice a year would be somewhat disruptive, so his 1918 wartime plan tried to be minimally bothersome. Instead of adjusting clocks arbitrarily at midnight in March and November, Wilson chose 2 a.m., a time when no passenger trains were running in New York City. While the shift did impact freight trains, there were not as many as there are today, so daylight savings time was considered a relatively easy workaround for the railroads. The 2 a.m. adjustment is still considered the least troublesome time today, since most bars and restaurants are closed and the vast majority of people are at home asleep, either relishing in or begrudgingly accepting their adjusted bedtime schedules. Wow. Okay. I didn't even think about that, the whole train thing. That's pretty cool. So those are your interesting facts about daylight savings time. That is this weekend. So don't forget to move your clocks forward an hour Saturday night at 2 a.m. If any of y'all are awake, or you can just do it before you go to sleep Saturday night. But that is this weekend for those of you that actually, participate in daylight savings time. I will say it is nice to have, the longer daylight hours at the end of the day. It's nice where it's not, 5 o'clock and getting dark. I'm not an early morning person, so that part doesn't bother me, but I'm sure it does for a lot of people that get up early. But it doesn't bother me. I like, the nice spring and summer evenings where you can sit outside and it's still nice and daylight out there, and you can watch the sunset. And yeah, I really like springtime. Not a big fan of summer. It's a little too hot in my opinion, especially where I live. It's very humid here in Virginia. But I like spring and I like the fall. Fall is a great time of year to watch all the leaves change, and yeah, it's nice. You can open up the windows, air out the house, all that good stuff. So anyway, so that is what I wanted to share with you today about daylight savings time, and just check in on everybody, see how everybody's doing. Let me know down below, like I said, what's going on, what's new, what are you working on. Let me know if you agree with daylight savings time, if you disagree, and why. Yeah. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Make sure you stay safe and do things that make you happy.